Hello, Stratters. It is CreepEvee back again, and this week we are back in our bread and butter Pauper. And today we're going to be looking at something pretty interesting. I was browsing around, I had a couple ideas for what I wanted to do, but I saw this, and I thought this would be pretty fun. It's kind of theme deck-ish, but I tested it out, and it's just so fast. Like, this is a very competitive deck, in my opinion. It is brutally fast, and I really like it. I like the theme of it, I like the mechanics, so I wanted to share it with you guys. And of course, I'll leave the link to the deck list in the description. I'm trying to remember the name of the user that posted it, but all of the links will be in the description. I really like this deck. I'm considering building it in paper now. I've been testing it a little bit today, but without further ado, let's get into what we're dealing with. So I will pull up our little display pane here. But we're playing red, white, and Pauper this week. And we're not playing Boros. Although I'm already building Boros in paper, this is pretty interesting. So the deck primarily revolves around the Exert mechanic that came out in Amonkhet. I really like the mechanic. It was really interesting and limited, but didn't really make a huge splash in constructed play. But the interesting thing is that most of the cards that were printed with Exert were actually printed as commons. So Pauper gets a lot of access to Exert, but we haven't really seen it do a whole lot. But now red white might be the opportunity for it, and I got excited because I saw a lot of cards that I actually used in my limited decks for this set. I played in a couple drafts, pre-releases, so this card in particular, Emberhorn Minotaur, put in work for me, as well as Entangler here. Just simple cards that can do so much in limited, but now seeing what they can do in constructed is pretty interesting. But I've rambled on enough. Like I said, the deck revolves around Exert and using cards like Herald of Dromoka. I don't know why I can't talk today. Herald of Dromoka. It has vigilance, and other warrior creatures you control have vigilance. And it just so happens that our Exert creatures are warriors. So the way Exert works is that when it swings to attack, you can make it to where it doesn't untap, and it gets that ability. It doesn't untap the next turn until then it becomes unexerted. The thing about that is it only says that it doesn't untap. It does not say that it becomes tapped. So if the creature has vigilance and it swings, it doesn't tap. Now it doesn't untap, so as long as your opponent doesn't play a spell to tap it or anything, you're still going to be able to swing with it normally next turn. So we want to use our heralds to make sure that our guys never have to worry about not exerting themselves. Not they don't want to get tuckered out. They don't want to exert. But whenever they have Herald out, we can exert as much as we want without any problems, which is pretty rad. Cards like Marshalling Cry also allow us to do that for one turn, but obviously Herald is our preferred means of doing this. There was a deck in Standard that kind of did the same thing. Always Watching the enchantment was kind of the replacement for Herald. But it just wasn't quite powerful enough to really make a huge impact in Standard. But in Pauper, I think that there's some pretty good tools. So we'll quickly go over the other creatures in the deck. Crop Spearmaster, when you exert it, it gets +1/+0 and gains first strike. Crop Elite, whenever it exerts itself, creatures you control get +1/+1. So very good at accelerating our damage. Bloodlust Inciter, no exert on him, but he does tap to give one of our creatures haste. And if we're looking to close out the game and we drop one of our big creatures like this Crop Elite, if we've got a board out, pretty strong board, we need to finish off the game, drop it, let it swing. The reason why Bloodlust and Cider is so important is because these effects only happen whenever they attack. It's not something like a passive effect where it happens as long as it's on the board. So it attacking is a huge priority, so giving them haste, definitely important. Only 3 of them because they pretty much run out of usefulness pretty quickly once you establish your board. Bright Hearth Banneret, a very well-known card in Pauper. It's a few infinite combos you can do with it. But elemental spells and warrior spells that you cast cost 1 less to cast, so we are going to make this very fast deck even faster with it. It does have Reinforce, but I don't think I've ever used a Banneret for Reinforce in my life, but it's there. Entangler, it has Trample, and when it exerts itself, when you do, yeah, it only gets +1/+2. Then Scrapper, Exerts gets +2/+0, so it gets +2/+0. I'm still trying to remember what each one of them do. I'm sorry guys, I'm just having to check it. And it gets +1/+1 and gains Menace when it exerts. So this was the reason why this one was so good and limited. I drafted this thing every time I saw one. I played red a lot in Amonkhet drafts. Such a good set for red. Mainly because of these guys. Just so deadly. And then besides that, we have a pretty basic land setup. I know that I have like 1,500 different lands here, but that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 mountains and 8 plains, and then 4 of our dual lands, and then to wrap it all up, just 2 Bone Splitters, pretty basic for aggro decks in Pauper. Over on the side deck, pretty simple as far as a red deck goes. A few notable exceptions that he has that are a little bit questionable. Manic Vandal, I get why he's doing it because it's a warrior, so it synergizes, but at the same time, I don't know, Ancient Grudge seems a little bit more consistent, but definitely, well, something like Ancient Grudge, you could use Disenchant in this deck. Probably, yeah, Disenchant. So that could be a little bit more consistent, but it definitely does synergize with the deck, so I won't knock that. So 3 of those, 3 Pyroblasts, a little heavy on the Pyroblasts in my opinion, but I won't say that it's not a good idea. Blue is such a dominant deck. Just one more Journey to Nowhere. Never a bad card to have. Normally people main deck 4. He's main decking 3, so putting 1 in the side deck I don't disagree with at all. Rootborn Defense, just a basic protection spell. Some more Blazing Volleys. He actually had, what are they? Electrickeries in there. I put the Blazing Volleys in. I feel like it's Electrickery done better, is my opinion. But that's the only change that I've made to the deck. Please don't hate me for that. And then Magma Sprays, just for a little bit of extra burn, as well as creature removal. Well, creature removal, not burn. Burning creatures for removal, I guess is what I was attempting to say. But anyway, all of my gaffes in speech there, we've gone through several of them. But this is the deck. I'm excited, guys. This is a fun deck to play. If you like aggro decks, this is the one for you. I also really enjoy Soldier Tribal. Obviously these aren't soldiers, but reminiscent of soldiers. So I'm excited to play this deck. I played it a little bit already off camera and I loved it. So let's get into the games, guys. Alright guys, playing some red-white Exert against Raptor Spank. I don't know how I feel about that name. Definitely evokes a lot of emotions. I won't deny that. If that was what he was going for, he certainly achieved it. Thornwood Falls. It's never a good sign. Get our Bone Splitter into play. This image up here evokes a lot of emotions too. I'm not quite sure what that is. It fits though. It fits. Aether Theorist. So we got some energy going on. It could be interesting. Let's put our Herald out. Our little trumpet boy. I do find his horn to be quite interesting, given that the, I believe the output there looks like it's going backwards. It's not really delivering the volume towards your intended audience. So some more energy in Pauper. You have my attention, sir. Now what will you do with it? There's a lot of spicy things I could do here, but I'm going to go ahead and get our Scrapper out. And then next turn we're going to pimp his ride. So we get +2/+0. To block him, they have to block with both. So I kind of need one of them to be out of the way. That would help. I'm actually going to let this go through, because I'm pretty sure he's going to play a pump spell. Or not. Plenty of energy revolving pump spells. Alright, he legitimately does have my attention at this point. I want to know what this is. Let's put out a Bone Splitter. Equip a equip a Bone Splitter. Equip a Bone Splitter. I can do 8. Has Menace, so they'll have to block him with 2. So he has the option to stop this attack. Or I can bolt one of them, and then he does not have the ability to block this turn, which is what I want to do, because I honestly have no idea what he's going to try to do, so I'd rather get my damage in while I can. Okay, so does have some type of pump aspect to it. So now I could definitely die, but can I come back from it even without the Scrapper? Because if I swing with Scrapper, I'm killing 2 of his creatures, no matter what. Because he has to block me with 2 of them. I'm going to pass, as much as I hate to. I feel like a lot of that turn got wasted, but I really just want to know what he's playing. First I thought like some kind of energy turbo fog, but now we've got pump spells, We've got puzzle knots. I don't know. This guy could do some crazy things. Well, now I know that he has the pump spells is kind of concerning. That servo generation, I'm starting to think might be more of a problem than I originally anticipated. Let's play the crag, gain a life. Again, it's going to come down to whether or not I want to, how much I'm willing to risk here. I'm going to journey to nowhere this sage. In which case, to stop the scrapper, he will have to block with both of his creatures. And to kill it, he will have to play pump spell while blocking with both of those creatures. Doing all of that when he has one card in hand is unlikely, while also, in my opinion, if I can make him go through two creatures and his last spell in hand, that's a worthwhile turn. Okay, so chooses not to block. Let's go ahead. I'll just drop the Herald now. I'm curious doesn't even begin to describe the interest in which I have in this man's deck. We're gonna see what that big cast is. What was that? Oh, sack the puzzle knot. Okay, so I don't know what that last card is yet. Maybe his plan is to generate these servos. I don't know. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I really can't. Huh. Okay, so I'm going to do something a little bit funky here. Attacking with one creature is beginning to get monotonous. So I'm going to put one of each on the heralds. Because at this point, if he kills one herald, that's fine. If he kills two of them, that's a problem. But at this point, without a pump spell, he cannot do that. So if he wants to block with a servo each, that's what I was expecting. Because what I'm betting is that he's saving his blocks because he has to give up two creatures. So if I can convince him to actually block, then I feel like I've done something. Getting rid of some of those servos is just going to be essential if I am going to be able to kill him off with some of my bigger creatures. One card in hand. I don't know. Because I want to hit this swooper next turn. Or the end of this turn. I'm going to swing with these guys and this guy exerting him. And just see what he wants to do about blockers. Really wanting to keep the Theorist, which is understandable. I just want to kill the Swooper and kill him now before he has a way to draw into a potential counterspell. But at this point, like, I don't know whether this guy's gonna have counterspells, whether he's going to have fog spells. I wouldn't be surprised if he played some type of infect card. Another Theorist. One more card in hand. Spearmaster, not bad right now. I actually really like that draw. Let's swing with the whole crew with Exert. So everybody's hitting for 4. Can only block 2 of them. He chooses to go ahead and kill the Herald. Oh, well, how do I... Okay. So we lose a Herald, but we do a lot of damage in the process, and we still have a Herald to work with. Let's play the Crop Spearmaster. Tap here. Put that onto the Spearmaster. Put that onto Scrapper. So not... I mean, at this point, it's just kind of a... trying to push through this mass of creatures. Not even a mass, but just an annoying amount of creatures. Cycle to Tranquil Thicket. Alright, so I think we win. I'm actually going to put this onto the Scrapper, which probably would have been a better idea to do last turn, but the reason why is because Scrapper is more difficult to block. So he's more likely to not want to block Scrapper, in which case I hit in and kill him, but at this point he would have to block 2 there, or he can block 2 here, I get in for 8, or I get in for 6, so he's dead either way, but just long-term strategy, I would want to block here. So we definitely did not learn a whole lot about his deck, I guess you could say, for sure. Pyroblasts do a lot. I'd like to say that Magma Spray does stuff, but if he has the pump spells, but of course we only saw one of them. Man, I want to go down a Bolt. This is a little bit slower matchup, so I'm going to go down a Blood Insider. I think I want another Journey to Nowhere. Let's Let's go down 2 bolts. And I really don't know. Like, this is just weird. Let's just bring in 2 Pyroblasts. Normally I'd only bring in like 2 Pyroblasts against a like a mono blue deck, but this is just throwing me for such a loop right now. God, I hate to keep this, but I want to. This is kind of risky. These guys have put in so much work for me in Limited, though, so I have faith in them. I don't know how many Amonkhet drafts you guys are going to these days, but let me tell you, that is a card. Tune with Aether. I am curious though, tell me what you guys think of my sideboarding strategy on that one. Was I right, wrong, stupid? I don't know. I'm baffled. I really want to know what this deck is. I am going to go ahead and Journey to Nowhere. It seems kind of a waste of time to do it. But this is the card he was protecting so much last game, and it was problematic, so I'm going to go ahead and snatch it now. Woodweaver's Puzzle Knot. Man, remember the days of Aetherworks Marvel and Standard, guys. And this was the card to play alongside it. Those were good times. Depending on whether you were playing that deck or not. If you weren't playing it, it was a little bit rough. Let's get a Crop Entangler out for now. I could get Spearmaster out, but I like the Crop Entanglers for the trample ability. I mean, there's no doubt that First Strike is very good here, but kind of wanted to be available to cast Lightning Bolt there as well. It was part of the idea, but we didn't end up having to. So let's get Crop Elite out. I'm not going to Exert here because we do not have our lovely Vigilance generators. My opponent has gained a fair amount of life off of that Puzzle Knot. Okay, so this may be part of the strategy. I don't know whether this is the whole strategy, but I think we go for another one. Yeah, why not? I guess I'll swing because this is flying. I'm not going to Exert it yet. I'm kind of desiring getting the... Oh, okay. So it has trample now, so he can pay... Let's see, how much can he end up doing? So he can afford to do it 6 times. So 12, he would do 20 to me. If I'm doing my math right. Which I am going to allow, because we will live that by 1. Okay, so I was right there. Man, I really wish I would have had lightning bolt, man. That would have been nifty. So let's do this. So creatures are going to get +1/+1, gain vigilance. So I can exert all 3 of these guys. So everybody's going to get a nice little boost. We'll just always yield to these guys. I don't think we can live another turn. So let's see, so that's 10, 16. We're so close to being able to kill with that lightning bolt. We do now have blockers for the eel. He would have to have a pretty darn good hand to pull that off again this turn. Okay, so I am now seeing what the strategy is. Which I sort of assumed. So that's when it attacks. So it can do that twice. So I need to be able to block 4 damage. And of course, me not going into... Is anybody at home doing their homework and keeping track of how many times I click the wrong... Well, I think that I'm in block step when I'm in attack step. So here's what's going to happen. He's going to do that twice. At which point I am going to cast Lightning Bolt and kill it. And I believe that gets us the game, unless he has something very drastic. He cannot do that while I'm attacking. He can only do that when he is attacking. So my guys here can swing out as big and bad as they want to, which they're going to. None of these guys have haste. I'm just going to try to make it fun. I like to make it fun for everybody. Taps for 1 blue. Is he going to do anything with that blue? Alright, we got the game. So that was cool. I like that. I know that a lot of people have talked about, you know, wanting to do energy in Pauper, but I haven't seen anybody actually do it in a way that was pretty powerful. Like, it's definitely a combo deck, and it definitely requires a lot of setup, but I do like when goofy setup things happen. So bravo to you, sir. I don't remember Raptor Spank. Yeah, that's a hard name to forget. But thank you for the game, sir. That was a very interesting deck. I applaud you on that. It was definitely close. Definitely close, but I enjoyed it. So thank you. But to the rest of you guys, I hope you enjoyed the match as much as I did. I know that I did. So let me know down in the comments what you thought. What do you think of the deck so far? Obviously, we're going to have some more games of it, but what are your thoughts so far? I really enjoyed it. It's fast as heck. Like, I mean, we were being held back a lot by his deck, but we could see just like how quickly our board state was advancing. Especially once you get the bannerets out, which we didn't really get to do in this game. But hopefully we'll see more of that in the games that we do later this week. Other than that, let's see, what else shilling do I have to do? Yes, I would like you guys to like this video and subscribe to the channel to see all of my videos, as well as all of the other wonderful videos from the wonderful content creators here at Magic Gathering Strat. We all do appreciate it. And let's see, what was the other thing? Oh, yes, we do have, I don't want to bring the mood down again, but we do have some, continued hardships going on down in Houston. So please try to keep those folks in mind, as well as the folks in Florida, as well as the Caribbean islands. They're currently dealing with Hurricane Irma. I myself am getting ready to deal with Hurricane Irma up in South Carolina, but doesn't look like it's going to be too bad here. But still keep everybody in those areas in mind. It's been a rough hurricane season so far, and we still got a couple more coming, so they could definitely use some good vibes. So try to send them down to them if you don't mind. I'm sure we all would appreciate it. Now that I am officially in the path, I think I'm getting it on Saturday or Sunday. So I'm going to have to record the video in advance in case I lose power. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. As always, this has been CreepEvee signing out.